Welcome to the Wokest Warren, where we have the Wokest Discourse. My name is Julie Stout, and I am going to give you the second part of the story of the life of F.E. Mears, my great-grandfather. So I mentioned that he was a real estate broker. The thing was that he was a racist. He apparently hated black people, and I don't know how he felt about black people personally, but I know that he, as a landlord, refused to rent to black tenants. And as a real estate agent, he refused to sell properties to black buyers. If you look at my parents' high school yearbook, they graduated from Niles McKinley High School in 1964. There were literally like 2 black kids in their school. My mom's graduating class had over 400 people in it. And there was 1 black girl in her class. Everyone else was white. That doesn't happen on accident. I grew up thinking that this was an accident, that it was like, oh, well, you know, black people don't want to live here. They want to go live somewhere else. They want to live in Warren. Well, some black people might have liked to have lived in Niles. I know that there are plenty of black people that live in Niles now. I have plenty of black neighbors. But back in the 60s, that was not the case. Back in the 60s, it was redlined as fucking hell. But redlining refers to banking, where you wouldn't be able to get a mortgage to buy a house if you were African American. This goes beyond that. This is a full-blown conspiracy. This is a explicit understanding of real estate agents and real estate brokers that they would refuse to sell any property to an African American person. So I wanted to tell the rest of the story, right? Because I started out talking about this guy who was Irish, and he hung around with these Russian kids and learned their language. Then he grew up, and he valiantly fought a pitched battle against the KKK in which one of his brothers was killed. And then what does he do after that? He moves on to become a real estate agent to systematically deny housing opportunities to black people. So, why am I telling you this? Well, first of all, I want you to know that I'm not just like picking on people, right? This isn't a random person I'm talking about. This is my ancestor. So I'm allowed to say whatever the fuck about him I want to, right? He was a racist. And I think that for most white people who live in this area, with few exceptions, you'll find that your grandparents and your grandparents were extremely racist to black people. And it doesn't hurt to acknowledge that. You don't have to feel guilty about it, because like you didn't do it, right? I didn't do it. I did not stop African American people from getting housing. That shit happened long before I was born. The point is that earlier generations of white people have dealt with racism by just stuffing it and just pretending it was a thing that didn't happen. And we can never move forward with people's attitude like that. We need to look at the things that we've done 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or yesterday, that did not serve the purpose of creating peace and harmony among all people. So, I'm glad I'm not rich, because if I were rich, I'd feel like I had to like give all the money back that my great-grandfather made off of exploiting black people. But as it stands, I'm totally fucking broke. So the only thing that I have is my education. And I try to share my education whenever possible. So in some small sense, give back to the community that way. That was all I really had to say. I just, didn't want to let that go without letting you know that my great-grandfather was a systematic, dyed-in-the-wool, I'm going to create problems for you in your life racist. And I try not to be. So, if I do something that's fucked up, like, let me know so I can be better. Thanks for listening.